Hello, hi. Today we are making my favorite video of the year, the only video that's really worth making ever, and it is my favorite books of 2023. Everybody cheer, woo, yay! 2023 was kind of the most bizarre reading year I've had in a while. I read a lot. I read 43 books, which is the most I've read since 2021, and I'm very excited about that number. However, I will say the number of new to me books that I read this year was only about 15. The whole point of 2023 for me was kind of to fall back in love with reading, to kind of reassess who I am, where I'm at, what I'm interested in. And so I kind of wanted to revisit old works to see if I still liked them, if I was still interested in reading. And the great news is I still love all of the stupid shit that I have loved for the past forever. But that means I don't have a very long list of new to me books to talk about as my favorites. But that's kind of probably for the best because I do tend to talk a lot. I have 5 books that I want to talk to you about today. Most of them are all really, really great. I'm very excited. Let's just go for it. The first book, the 5th book on my list, number 5, I'm hesitant to talk about it because the author is a Zionist as far as I'm aware, which is kind of a bummer. It's more than a bummer, it sucks. But I really want to talk about it because I enjoyed it a lot and I really don't have that many books to talk about. So take it all with a grain of salt and recognize that you probably shouldn't support her. Number 5 on my list is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zeman. This book got a lot of hype in 2022. It is all about video games and friendship and grief, which is such an interesting combination. I will say this book is really, really interesting when you compare it to Mythic Quest. I watched so much television this year, and one of my favorite shows was Mythic Quest. So if you have Apple TV or you haven't seen it and you're interested, it's on Apple TV. But it is such a good show. It just it's all about friendship and found family, which is coincidentally what this book and almost every book that I love is about. But it's such a great show. There's an episode on there, and I think it's the first season with Jake Johnson, and it really parallels this pretty well because both this and Mythic Quest are kind of about the idea of 2 friends who come together to make a video game, and then over the course of their career, over the course of creating the business side of things, they kind of fall apart and have a bunch of relationship issues. And so this book is all about the passage of time and watching people grow up and being friends with somebody and then losing touch with them and then finding them again and then getting mad at them, just all of the waves of friendship and grief and all of that stuff. It's also very sad. I should include there's a trigger warning for mass shootings. I didn't know that going into it and it was fine, but also it could be a lot if you didn't know that. It makes you emotional, it's a good book, even though the author is kind of annoying. You do what you can, I guess. Number 4 on our list, I've been meaning to read for a couple of years now, and it is kind of, I wanted to pick it up because it's part of the Sentient Architecture Club, if I'm being honest. And that book is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. If you haven't heard about this book, there's really not a lot that I can and should tell you, but it is about this man who ends up being stuck in a house. Although it's really more than just a house because it has all these chambers and hallways and structures, and so it's bigger than a house, but it is kind of just a magical house. And so the story follows him as he documents his day-to-day in the house, and he ends up meeting 1 or 2 people within the house, and so it feels like kind of magical realism at the beginning, and you think it's going to be this fantastical supernatural book, but it's actually more of a mystery if you think about it. So I don't want to give too much away, but it's a very quick read. The audiobook is fantastic. You've probably already read it because it's from 2020, but I really enjoyed it and I had a great time. So number 3 on our list is a new release, and I'm surprised that I got to it as quickly as I did. I think this was the 2nd book that I read this year. It is a part of a series. It's a sequel, and it is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. If you don't recognize this cover, I was one of the sacred few who got the Illumicrate exclusive, and it is quite literally gorgeous. I look at it all the time. Stunning. Hellbent is the sequel to Ninth House. If you've read Ninth House or you've heard of Ninth House, it is a series about this magical club in Yale University. That's as much as I can describe it to you. It's very bizarre. It kind of has to do with death and that's about all I can tell you. I don't know what else to tell you, but it's Dark Academia. The sequel we've been waiting for a couple of years now, and so I think everybody was nervous. I don't know how the general public received this. Personally, I had such a fun time. It was better than the first one in my opinion, and I loved it because it's all about found family and friendship, my favorite things. The other thing that I really liked about this book is that it took a really weird direction. I don't want to spoil anything, but she takes it in a way that I didn't expect for this series, and I loved it. It just, there's like a certain plot point that I didn't expect, and it was really, really great. And the other reason that I really like this book is because it has one of my favorite tropes, which is hell is a literal place you can go. That's all I can say, but it's just wonderful. It's just a silly goose fun time, you know? I don't know. I'm Lee Bardugo trash even now. Number 2 on my list is kind of a 2-for-1, and I don't own it, which is a travesty, but it's a series that is translated from Russian. It is also Dark Academia, and it makes no sense, which is kind of a running theme for the books that I like. I don't actually know how to say it well, but it's Vita Nostra. And the sequel, Assassin of Reality. If you haven't heard about it, it was kind of big on BookTube a couple of years ago. It is about this girl named Sasha who gets picked to go to this magical university, and she doesn't know what's going on, and we don't know what's going on, and it's just very, very strange. And it gets stranger going deeper into the story. It's kind of about dreams, and it's also kind of about grammar, but that's about as much as I can tell you because I don't actually know what's going on. I read both of these books, the first one and the second one this year. The second one actually just came out in March, so who knows when the next book will come out. I like the first book a lot more than the second one because the second one gets even weirder somehow. But I'm so compelled by the story because it takes so much brain power to understand, and it's so bizarre, and I love that. I love not knowing what's going on and having to work for my food. It's definitely not a book for everybody, but I think if you are somebody who enjoys like The Locked Tomb or House of Leaves or Piranesi or Hellbent or any of these books that I like, you'll probably enjoy it. You may not understand it, but you probably will enjoy it. My favorite book of 2023 is kind of the most unexpected thing to ever happen to me. I did not think I would get to this point in my life, but I am so excited, so thrilled, so proud of myself. This book changed my life. It is something that has haunted me for nearly 10 years now, and I'm so happy that it's done, but I'm even more happy with how much I enjoyed it. It's Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. Can you believe? Can you believe? I don't know if you know this about me. I've been trying to read Les Mis since I graduated high school. I'm only 300 pages in, and I think I'm gonna skip over this huge 40 pages about Waterloo. You feel my pain, I hope. How old am I now? 28. It took me 10 years. When I started 2023, I really only had one resolution. I told myself I was gonna read Les Mis, and I proceeded to not read Les Mis until November. And I picked it up at Thanksgiving thinking, you know, like this is a Hail Mary, like if I don't get to this, this is the end, like I'll just never read Les Mis. And by some miracle of God, I fell in love with it. It truly is a classic for a reason. I never expected to enjoy it as much as I did. I underlined like so many different passages in this book. It changed the way that I see the world. It changed the way I think about a lot of things. It made me interested in classics, which is not something I expected. But I literally have had this on my Goodreads currently reading shelf since 2013. And so the fact that it's done and I read it, all 1,200 pages of it, it's a huge thing. It's a huge feat. I feel really accomplished, and even though I'm like really proud of myself for like sticking with it and reading it and picking it up after 10 years, I think I'm more excited that it touched me in such a way. Like I think about it all the time. It is so much more than a book to me. It is a lifestyle. I thought I loved the musical a lot, but the book is even better than the musical somehow. I've written multiple essays about it on my Substack, so if you're interested, you can go check those out. But this is it. This is an all-timer for me, and I just am obsessed with it. I love it so much. That's it. That's the weirdest reading year I've had since I read 100 books in 6 months. And I'm incredibly excited for next year. I feel really jazzed up and energized. I'm going to try and read 100 books in 2024. I don't know what's going to happen or what I'm going to find while I go down that journey, but I'm ready. I'm excited, and I am grateful for you for paying attention and listening to me when I rant about all these silly, silly words. Yeah, I would love to hear the books that you read that you loved. If you have recommendations for me or books that you're hoping to read in 2024, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm making a YouTube comeback. I don't know. Let's not get our hopes up, but it could happen. I don't know. Anything's possible these days. I love books. I have always loved books and I will love them forever. Bye!